control, and superiority over those who lack such things. Okay? If you look at the UN, for instance, their main indication of human progress, their main indication of human well-being across the globe are these features. Even happiness. Who knows what the happiest country in the world is? Huh? Sweden. Do you know Sweden has the 4th highest rate of taking antidepressants?
Taking?
Antidepressants. You know that? Interesting.
What was Sweden?
Whoa, what happened there? Why are they the happiest country in the world then? That's strange. Do you know they only work 28 hours a week?
That's a lot.
That's little. They're also one of the least productive countries in the world. Do you know that 1 in 3 men in Sweden, or no, is it 1 in 3? I'm sorry, excuse me for the statistic. It might be 1 in 10 at most. 1 in 3 at most, 1 in 10 at least. In Sweden have had sex with an animal.
1 in 10.
Yeah, or 1 in 3. I think it's 1, I'm gonna be nice, 1 in 10. Okay? 1 in 10 have had sex with an animal. Now, if you're not against that, I mean, but I don't know. It would seem to me that people who have these sort of drug addictions also very high in Sweden. Alcoholism is very high in Sweden.
Okay, let's go to Spain then.
Spain is horrible. I don't want to get into that. Spain is just horrendous. Spain has one of the worst economies in the world right now. I wouldn't go there, you know. I have ancestors there. I wouldn't still go there. Okay, so scientific progress, technology, and health, these are things that attract us. When people have these things, they feel a sense of superiority. They say, you see a lot of Americans, they're like, you know, I'm American. I don't know if you've met these sort of Americans, obnoxious types. They come, you know, we have the greatest military in the world. We could bomb you if we wanted to, you know, things that, you know, the people actually talk like this. But what about this? What about science, or not science, but people with science creating so much pollution? We have a global warming issue now. What about weapons of mass destruction? I talked about Nagasaki and Hiroshima. What about the bombs that were dropped recently in Iraq? Or if we know about Fallujah, anybody understand what happened in Fallujah? Uranium-tipped bullets. Economic exploitation. We still have child labor. Even in Malaysia, you have child labor. You go to Bukit Bintang, you can see child labor. I'm not kidding. You know those kids that come up to you with the Yasin? You don't think somebody owns them?
I don't think they're Malaysians.
They're not Malaysians, but they're here. No, it's a. Why is everyone laughing? I don't understand. It's a point, right? It's a point. Why are they here? But they're here. They're still here. It's still a Malaysian problem, even though they're from somewhere else. I mean, yeah, you can ship them over back where they came from, but I mean, you're not solving anything. You know, I mean, everyone's responsible if it's happening on your land. I'm going to say the same thing about the United States. Anywhere else. You know, in the U.S. we have a huge poverty problem. And I'll tell you, want to talk about economic exploitation? I'll tell you this. If you don't believe racism still exists in the United States, do you know why most of the African American population is poor? Does anybody want to know? Is it because African Americans are somehow lower than white people or light-skinned people?
What was your question again?
I'm asking you, African Americans they're the number one, or one of the number one groups in the United States who suffers from poverty and low education and crime. 70% of the prison population is black. Why? Discrimination, yes. So it's not because they're black, right? It's because
they have different citizenship, right?
no, African Americans are Americans. They're born and raised there. But they're called African Americans because their ancestors were taken here as slaves. Now, taken in the United States as slaves. Now, I'll tell you one thing, one of the government policies in the United States that has yet to be overturned, and that seeps of racism. One of the ways that we get taxes for education is from your house taxes, okay? All right, so your schools, the quality of the school is dependent on the amount of money taken from your property. Now, if you live in a poor area, you get less money, right? So your schools are worse. So if your kids go to this school, are they going to get a better education or a worse one? If they get a worse education, are they going to go to college? So they're going to end up back in that same town. This was installed after the Civil Rights Movement to make sure that African Americans were kept where they belong, quote unquote. Okay?
So they have a good system in place to control.
To keep them there. Obama, they said, solved all the problems. Obama didn't solve anything. He's like half Indonesian. He's not even African American. He's not even. I don't even know where he's from anywhere. I mean, he's a black-skinned person who went to Harvard. He's not even really black. So I'm being honest. He can't sue me or anything. It's fine. So, you know, I mean, freedom of speech, yay. You know, Obama didn't solve that problem. The African Americans are still there in the same conditions they were before. And in even Chicago, where I'm from, okay, we have the highest rate of crime in probably the world. Every other day, 2 African Americans, sometimes minors, are killed in gun battles in the south side of Chicago. Even the police won't go there. It's that bad. So, okay, did we skip anything? Okay, good. All right, no, here we go. Go back. Please, thank you. Okay, there is little concern for these atrocities and more focus on the benefits they produce. While there is a minority attempting to stop these horrible practices, many individuals living in scientifically advanced societies have little to complain about. Okay, next. Please. Okay. Misuses of science. So now we're going to go to my country. Yay. For instance, the United States has the highest scientific impact globally, okay, but spends 20% of its total budget on military expenses. More than 40% of the global defense budgets combined in the world. Of its research and development spending in science, it allocates 51% of its budget to the military alone, and only 24% on health and 0.2% on education. 0.2% on science education. 24% on health. 51% of all scientific output from the United States goes towards its military.
What does that mean?
What does that mean? Is that we're building weapons. Lots of them. And lots of technology. And we are using that for perpetual warfare and what we call defense. Okay? Which means billions of dollars to Israel. Now, anyways, historical sad fact, and I mentioned this earlier, 14 Muslim majority countries have been attacked by the United States since 1980. These events have displaced and killed millions of innocent people while simultaneously destabilizing the region and robbing it of its precious resources. So, when we have the use of science in this way, is it really a good thing to call yourself superior in a civilized fashion? Is it really something to be proud of? Is there a necessary causation between the truth of something and the fact that you can bomb a lot of countries? That's what I'm trying to ask. Does scientific and technological output mean anything when it comes to truth? Because, and I'll give you a more extreme example, Nazi Germany, everyone loves to hate on the Nazis, but they were powerful. They had really good health care, they had amazing weapons, and they had some of the best military the world has ever seen, and some of the best tactics, okay? They were basically, that's why they were considered the main rivals of the United States, all right, during that period of time, all right? The Germans were a very successful country during that time. They are successful now. But during the Third Reich, they were considered a superpower. Stalinist Russia was a superpower. They had amazing technology and health. And they had the most advanced weapons. So does that correlate with, should we believe in atheism now, even though they had all of these things? Should we believe in Nazism? Because what I'm trying to say is there's no direct cause between your power or what you have, materialistically speaking, and your ideas. Sometimes bad ideas can also produce materialistic wealth and power. And good ideas sometimes don't, because they're not being utilized. Okay. Blinded by science. Despite these other factors, what appears to be the case is that the majority of society follows, whether they are aware of it or not, the belief of scientism. Before we go on, I'd like to mention something here. Whether you think you don't, or not. Everyone in this room is affected by it. Okay, and the reason why is because Malaysia is very much a secular society, whether you also believe me or not. Okay? Scientism is a prolific belief within these societies. Now, let me give you a test. When you read the recent scientific discovery on the web, do you believe it? Automatically? Yep. Why? Is it because science is absolutely true all the time?